Keisha just told us that you called News Homer. Is that true?
I cannot confirm or deny. Yeah, I said he's got this pitch.
Yeah.
I haven't called that all year, so you get a gut feeling and you see his approach starting to improve, and I knew he was going to get a fastball right there. He had taken a good swing earlier in the game. I just kind of felt his balance was good and he was seeing the ball at the right time. I got lucky.
We saw some of that power in the fall. I remember seeing him hit a really impressive homer to like dead center at one point. Do you think it's just a matter of him kind of being more comfortable and seeing pitches better now that he's able to kind of go gap to gap with some more power?
We had to tone down a lot of his movement, and you know, at this level, you're not going to get away with big high leg kicks and a lot of moving parts. These guys are too good at changing up the timing. So we had to tone down some things with him, and he's starting to understand a little bit more, I think, of his swing. There's still some things we have to correct, but a lot of it's just approach and seeing the right pitches for him to go on. And aggressive in the right counts to the right pitches. So if he can clean a few of those things up and continue to improve, the power's in there, sure. We got to be able to utilize him and swing at the right pitches.
You told us occasionally that there are still so many other arms still yet to see in the pitching staff. We saw a lot of them today, like Armbruster and a little bit of Levimoff and things like that. What did you make of all the different guys that pitched today, given the lead that you were able to use some of the arms we don't see too often?
We got to keep those guys sharp and fresh, as much as we can. And there was a couple guys that we didn't get in the game that we anticipated, Stevenson and Timmy Manning. So obviously we'll roll those guys into Tuesday and probably start one of those guys or Maddie. We'll still make a decision on that, but we obviously want to get those guys in the game this weekend, and just the way it worked out, it didn't come to that fruition. But on the flip side, we were able to get some guys in there that we needed to get in games. I think it's important to get Austin Humphreys in there as a freshman, and Lev, to get him back to the form he was in the fall, and try to make a few adjustments with him. Armbruster's kept his mouth shut and done his job whenever we've asked him to. And Tyler Valdez has an out pitch, with the slider. So trying to keep those guys engaged and in games is important.
Last night you spoke about the mentality that the team had, all the little details, and you get to the 3-0 lead and kind of let it slip a little bit. But today was a little bit different. What were some of those differences that you noticed from the team today versus last week?
I think just a correction on the mentality. And we talked about it a little bit yesterday as a team that what are the expectations here? You're going to put up 3 and then pull the parachute and coast the rest of the way, or are you going to finish the job? And I think it's got to be a mentality and a mindset that you play 9 innings, 27 outs, and 1 pitch at a time, you win every pitch. And we can start establishing that type of mindset the way we approach a game. We got a chance to do it. But until then, we're just another team if we're expecting to throw our talent out there and let that do the work for us. So today was a little bit better mindset.
Was there anything specifically that maybe helped that resonate today versus prior games at all, do you think?
You'll have to ask the guys that. So we had a little chat about it last night, so hopefully that sink in a little bit.
Coach, with such a big lead, we were able to get a lot of different hitters in there as well. Guys to see at bats like Renato and some of those guys, but Isaiah Jackson being taken out there, it looked like he had a couple tough at bats. What was the reasoning, I guess, in terms of taking him out? He's kind of gotten off to a little bit of a slower start, but saw he left the game there around the 5th inning.
There was no underlying reasons why. Just we were in a position in the game. I wanted to get Raj back in there and get him in at bat. Barnado, again, is one of those guys that's a talented kid, but we haven't had many opportunities to get him in there. I just felt that he's a middle infielder by trade, but he's athletic enough to go out in the outfield and does a pretty good job in center field. And I felt at that time of the game it would have been nice to get Raj in there and get him another at bat and try to get him going a little bit after not starting today. I just kind of wanted to keep those guys going. So I figured Raj is most comfortable in left and put him back and left, move Drake to center. And, you know, it had nothing to do with positives or negatives of his previous at-bats. It was just more so wanting to get Rogers in there again.
Just wanted to touch base on Ethan Long. I think he missed his 4th straight game after getting something with that first game at Oklahoma State. What's his status?
He's going to see Doc tomorrow. As of right now, we're cautiously optimistic. A couple of the larger potential injuries, I guess, have been ruled out. So we're very hopeful that hamate disease that we got going around here with 2 of them is not the case, and Doc's going to look at those images tomorrow. So we'll have an appointment with him tomorrow, and we should have some clarity on the situation moving forward with him. So I think right now, worst case scenario would be that the hamate. Well, I'm not a doctor, I don't know, but I'm guessing that would be probably the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, it's nothing, and hopefully he'll be ready to go here soon.
Is Johnny Weaver the other hamate?
Johnny Weaver and Nick McLean. So we've had 2 and potentially 3 in the last couple of weeks. So I don't know. They seem to come in waves, obviously.
What's Nick McLean's timetable looking like?
He's starting to feel better, moving the hand around pretty good, and you know, my hopes are he's more than a couple weeks away. We're going to try to get him cleared to start swinging here pretty soon. And then after that, as soon as he can get his timing and feel confident in swinging full go without it hurting, then it'd be a nice boost for us.
Is that Arizona series like an optimistic target for him?
I think so. That would be ideal if he can make that series. I'm not counting on it, but I'm hopeful that if he'd be able to make that series, certainly that's a big one.
Your starting pitchers obviously bounced back heavily this weekend. Jonah stepping in, big spot for him today. He looked as great as he can. And going into first conference series next weekend, do you anticipate that'll probably be the same 1, 2, 3 going into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or is there more to figure out?
We'll talk about it as a staff. Certainly, one would think it's probably going to be that, but you know, we're focused on whatever we got to do to beat Utah Tech on Tuesday, and then once we get through that game, we'll evaluate on who's going to go Friday, Saturday. I imagine Ross will probably go on Friday, and Christian will probably go Saturday, and then we'll figure out Sunday after Tuesday. So we got Owen and Timmy Manning that are going to throw, and potentially Matt Teeding on Tuesday. So we'll see how that shakes out and what gives us the best chance and best matchup that we have on Sunday. Jonah certainly didn't do anything to hurt his cause today.
I was checking out the weather report for Salt Lake next week. It looks pretty ugly. Is there like a contingency plan for whatever might happen up there if it's like a blizzard?
That'll be up to the conference, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a schedule maker. I know a lot goes into that, but it's kind of mind-boggling that we're going up there early. When we got the weather we have here early in the season, let's flip-flop it. I don't know. Go to Salt Lake later in the year when the sun shines out, but it is what it is. We're gonna have to deal with it, and if we go up there and play, we'll have to put our snow gloves on and get ready to play. So they gotta play in the same weather we do.
Just wanted to clarify on Johnny Weaver. You said he's the other hamate bone injury. What's his timeline look like relative to like Nick, and I already talked about anything?
He's about a week behind Nick, so I think most of those are usually 28, 30 days right on the button before they're playing again. So I would anticipate Johnny being back, probably the series after maybe that Cal series. Maybe it would be, again, hopefully optimistic there. But if we can get those guys back, I mean, that's certainly a shot in the arm for our lineup.
Who was your starting third baseman opening day, and obviously it seemed like that home run was just waiting on getting him a good swing and being able to, go out to left and do that. Did you feel that he really needed that for confidence when now, some injured guys are going to come back and you're going to have to shuffle the cards a little bit in terms of who's going to go 1 through 9?
No, I don't think it was needed. home runs are a result of good at-bats and putting good swings on pitches. So that, to me, the consistency of his at-bats are more important. Getting home runs are a result of just continuing to put together good at-bats. And his balance is starting to get a little bit better. Pitch recognition is starting to get better. It's still not where it needs to be, but it's improving. So, these are the freshman bumps in the road you're going to have, at times. So we're continuing to work with them and continuing to have him improve. And obviously, like I said, he plays a pretty dang good third base defensively. So if we can get the bat to pick up a little bit like he's capable, then he's a nice piece to what we're doing.
There were a lot of players saw action today where, both positional and pitchers. Is that some of like the little details you were speaking about before? Just, getting that big lead and then being able to insert players in, give other guys days off and other guys reps?
I think that's a result of being locked in and ready to play. I didn't go into this game expecting to get a bunch of these guys in. I was expecting them to play well, and if you can get out to a big lead like that, then certainly it's great to get Campy off his feet. Kid's been playing every day behind the plate, and put him in left field today, so it was nice to get him off his legs a little bit and rest him when we can. And it's nice to get these other guys in the game too. So to me, it's just you approach the game the right way and have the right mentality and let the results happen. And if we can approach it the right way, jump out to leads like that, I'd feel better. And certainly the other guys that are chomping at the time get their opportunities as well.
Coach, just wanted to get some perspective in terms of Jonah, his sort of recruitment here, his background, how that sort of plays into what you've seen from him since arriving at ASU, and what sort of makes him fit into the culture here.
Jonah started at Oregon State and then went to Central, and then we got him from Phoenix College, right? Phoenix College. I get them and Chandler Gilbert always mixed up. That was one of those things, kind of late in the summer. We were wanting to make sure we had a realistic chance for him to pitch, and his numbers were outstanding last year. And I talked to a guy I trusted at Central, Anthony Gillich, who had him there, and Anthony sang his praises and said, he's got a chance to be really good. You just got to buy in to what you're doing. And so we had a talk before we brought him. I told him this is how it's going to be when you come here, and he just wanted an opportunity and got here, and he's made the most of it. So he's been outstanding, and just his mentality, mindset, work ethic, the way he goes about it on a daily basis it's been great so far. And attacks the strike zone, which is what we ask.
Does that seem to be maybe the unexpected identity of this team in the early part of the year, of getting opportunities and making the most of it? I mean, there's so many players in the lineup and now pitchers as well that have stepped in maybe unexpectedly and have certainly made the most of the chances that you've given them.
I think that competition amongst the team is a good thing. And guys start getting soft and losing focus, somebody else is going to take your job. So to me, that's the edge you have to come with every day. And if you're not going to have that edge and you're not going to do what we ask you to do, then you're not going to play. And it's nice to have capable bodies to shuffle the deck if we have to. Certainly not, you'd like to get in a consistent lineup or a consistent rotation, but until these guys can prove the frame of mind where they can go out and do their job every time out there. I'm not saying they got to be perfect every time, but they have to go out with the focus and mentality to at least execute. And if they can't do that, we'll get the next guy up that can. And that's is that unfair? I don't think so. We're in a competitive world, so to me, I get the competition's a good thing. And so we got guys that are chomping at the bit, ready to play. Then it should hopefully elevate the guys that are in there. And if they don't, then we'll get the next guy in.
You feel like at this point in the season there have been some guys that have complacent lapses, or where you have to sort of keep them in check, put in another guy for them? Like, to what extent have you sort of felt that?
I felt it as a team more so than individuals, really. To where that's the part where I guess sometimes I get frustrated is, kind of having that killer instinct and coming to play, ready to play every day is whatever that is to get you ready. You got to figure out something. for me, you know, it could be color of the uniform they're wearing, for something, just get pissed off at something and get ready to play, have the edge to play and be ready to go. And for me, that's sometimes where I get frustrated, my guys, you're representing Arizona State, you're not representing yourself. So if you want to be a lazy dog, it's fine, but don't misrepresent ASU. And to me, this program is bigger than any individual, so when you're representing something bigger than yourself, you got to come with it every day. And whatever that is that gets you going, you got to find it. And you can't have days where you don't show up and you're not ready to play. It's embarrassing. So, you know, to me, that was the message last night after the game is, you know, what are your expectations here? My expectations are here. And if yours aren't on the same wavelength as mine, then maybe this isn't the place for you. But as long as I'm at Arizona State, the expectations need to be higher. And just trying to get them to buy into that and have the mental capacity to be ready to play every day is what's important. And I've said it before, like, I can take losing as long as you go out and go about it the right way. And you play hard and come out on the short end of the stick, it happens. I'm not expecting to go 56-0. But on the same token, you have to have an identity in how you play the game every day. And to me, it better be locked in mentally or it's going to be ugly. So that's the message we're trying to get through top to bottom to these guys is that you know, you're representing a proud program. And when you go out and take the field, it should matter. You know, it should matter to you and your performance matters. So, and your mentality and the way you go about it matters.